Have you ever felt trapped by invisible chains, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders because of an emotional attachment? Now, imagine the feeling of freedom when you release those chains, walking lightly and focused on what truly matters. In today's video, we will explore how to transform attachment into a force that liberates us, guided by the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophers. This is a journey that could forever change how you see the world and your emotions. With the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, we will learn how to let go with balance and find true inner peace. If you're ready to take the first step towards a lighter and more fulfilling life, this is the video for you. Let's begin. How to practice detachment. A guide to liberation. The reality is, to move forward, you must be genuinely willing to let go of the chains of the past. This includes letting go of experiences that have, in some way, shaped who you are, and leaving behind relationships that, although familiar, no longer serve your growth. Imagine holding onto a chain for so long that your hands start to bleed. The pain becomes almost unbearable, but you still refuse to let go because the fear of what might happen when you release the chain is paralyzing. You're trapped in the what-ifs. What if I let go of the chain and fall? What if the emptiness that follows is unbearable? But the truth is, letting go doesn't mean falling into an abyss. On the contrary, it sometimes means creating space for something new and better. It's like dropping a heavy baggage that you've carried for years and finally feeling the relief in your shoulders, enabling you to walk faster and with more purpose. I learned this lesson the hard way when I held on to a familiar situation. A job that no longer inspired me, but which I feared leaving because of the security it offered. I didn't realize that by staying there, I was closing doors to new opportunities that could bring me much more satisfaction and growth. There is another dangerous trap that we all know, the fear of losing something. It's like watching other people's lives on social media, seeing the incredible trips, elegant dinners, perfect smiles, and feeling like you're falling behind. It's easy to believe that if you don't keep up with every detail, you'll miss out on something. But this isn't real life. What you see on the internet is a carefully edited version, curated to look perfect. The photos of trips that appear in the feed don't show the moments of exhaustion, homesickness, or the unexpected events that occurred along the way. When you finally stop losing yourself in other people's lives and start living your own, something magical happens. The fear of missing out loses its grip on you. Not knowing every detail of someone else's life isn't losing out. It's being present in your own life. It's creating authentic moments that resonate with who you truly are, moments that belong solely to you. This attachment to a distorted image of happiness, an image that is sold to us as perfect, can make detachment seem like an impossible task. You see others smiling in their photos and think you're falling behind, that perhaps you'll never reach what they have. But remember, things are never as they seem from afar. Just like when we look at a neighbor's garden and think the grass is greener. But if you get closer, you'll see that it also has its dry areas and flaws. In the same way, no one's life is perfect. And true happiness lies in finding contentment in your own garden, in your own path. Detachment isn't about letting go of what you value. It's about making space for something new to bloom. Releasing that chain, leaving behind what no longer serves you, might be just what you need to free your hands to grasp something much more meaningful and real. Every step forward, every choice to leave the past behind, is a move towards a fuller, richer, and above all, more authentic life. The pursuit of perfection in someone else's life can easily steal the joy from your own. It's like trying to reach something intangible, like chasing a mirage in the desert. No matter how much you run, you'll never touch it because it's not real. Detachment doesn't mean giving up on happiness. It means finding it on your own terms. Stoic teachings. Focus on what's truly within your control. Your thoughts, actions, and personal growth are the things truly under your control. There is immense power in realizing that other people's opinions, past relationships, or even the seemingly perfect lives you see on social media do not have the power to determine your worth or happiness. This realization becomes a shield, allowing you to move forward in life without unnecessary burdens, free to explore all the surprises and wonders life has to offer, and open to genuine and meaningful connections that await you. Remember, detachment is not the end of anything. It's a courageous step towards the full and authentic life you truly deserve to live. Detachment, the power that frees us. Why is detachment so crucial in our lives? When we cling too much to people, situations, or even expectations and desires, we end up giving these things control over our emotions. Imagine this as handing someone else the remote control of your feelings, allowing them to change the channels as they please. This kind of external control can profoundly influence your happiness, sadness, and even your decisions. Let's consider a common example. Think of someone in a relationship where they constantly feel insecure and anxious, always seeking their partner's approval to feel valued. If the partner doesn't respond to messages immediately or doesn't show the expected affection, this person may feel a wave of insecurity and sadness, as if their happiness depends entirely on the other's actions. In extreme cases, this can lead to impulsive decisions, such as desperately trying to change the partner's behavior or even ending the relationship in a moment of frustration without considering the situation clearly. Detachment isn't about abandoning your feelings or stopping caring about others. It's about redefining what's truly important and what's within your reach. Imagine your emotions as a boat anchored in a harbor. If you're tied down by multiple anchors, whether it's a relationship that's no longer healthy, unrealistic expectations, or a job that no longer brings you satisfaction, you'll be immobilized, unable to explore new opportunities or navigate towards new horizons. However, if you start to lift these anchors one by one, you'll allow your boat to set sail, exploring the vast ocean of life and discovering new possibilities. Stoicism, a philosophy that emphasizes the importance of focusing on what's within your control, can be a great ally in this process. The Stoics teach us not to cling to things we cannot control, like others' opinions, the past, or situations. Instead, we should concentrate our energy on our own thoughts, actions, and personal growth. For example, if you're struggling with the fear of losing a job or anxiety about others' opinions, detachment doesn't mean giving up on seeking a fulfilling job or stop valuing constructive feedback. Instead, it means accepting that we can't control every circumstance and therefore must focus on how we respond to them in a healthy and constructive way. Starting the practice of detachment. First, identify what or whom you are excessively attached to. Ask yourself if you're constantly seeking validation from others, if you're afraid of loneliness, or if you're stuck with unrealistic expectations about how life should be. Understanding the root of your attachment is crucial for regaining control and finding balance. Once you've identified these attachments, engage in activities that bring you a sense of purpose and personal satisfaction. This might include hobbies, volunteering, or even learning new skills that you've always wanted to explore. For example, if you've always been interested in learning to play an instrument, dedicating time to this can not only offer a new form of expression, but also help shift your focus from emotional attachments. Additionally, practice daily gratitude by reflecting on the good things in your life and acknowledging what you've already achieved. Meditate on your priorities and what truly brings you happiness. Remember that true growth and happiness come from within. By focusing on your personal development and well-being, you'll start to see that the need for external approval diminishes. You'll learn to value your own achievements and find joy in the small things in life. Continuous growth. Lifting anchors for emotional freedom. Every anchor you lift represents a step towards greater emotional freedom and inner peace. Sail through the vast sea of life with courage and confidence, knowing that you have the power to shape your own destiny every day. By freeing yourself from old attachments and focusing on what truly matters, you will draw closer to the authentic and fulfilling life you deserve. If you are truly ready to emotionally detach, show your commitment in the comments by writing, "I will free myself from emotional attachment." Let's embark on this journey of transformation together. This marks the beginning of your change. Dimensions of attachment. What you need to know. When we become attached to something, it's often our ego that is in control. Deep down, we are beings of pure and genuine love. Consider someone who experiences a moment of true connection with nature, like a peaceful walk in a quiet park. The person is immersed in the beauty of the surroundings, feeling deep peace and a genuine love for the world around them. In that moment, there are no concerns about status or possessions, just pure and true appreciation for life. As we grow, the ego begins to take over. Imagine someone with a deep passion for running marathons. Initially, the focus is on the joy of running and the sense of personal achievement. But over time, the person may become attached to recognition and trophies, becoming obsessed with winning and setting record times. This attachment to success and recognition can turn the passion into a source of stress and insecurity, as the person becomes more concerned with others' opinions than with their own satisfaction and pleasure in the activity. Another example is someone in a relationship where their partner's approval has become essential to their self-esteem. If this person is constantly seeking validation from their partner or fears losing the relationship, it can create unnecessary insecurities and conflicts. The ego turns the relationship into a source of insecurity instead of a space for genuine love and connection. Consider also someone who has a strong attachment to their material possessions, such as a luxury car or a large house. This attachment can lead to a constant fear of loss or damage. The person may feel anxious if something happens to these possessions, believing that their happiness depends on them. To free yourself from these attachments, you need to start seeing these desires and connections in a new light. Imagine now living from a place of love instead of ego. Imagine the freedom of not needing to cling desperately to outcomes, people, or status. Living from love makes you trust in the abundance of life and believe that what is meant for you will come naturally. This isn't about wishing or thinking magically. It's about having a deep belief in your own worth and abilities. When you truly believe in this, it becomes easier to let go of these attachments. You start to see that these attachments are just anchors limiting the vast ocean of possibilities within your reach. Let's think of a practical example. Imagine someone deciding to let go of their material possessions and adopt a simpler lifestyle. At first, it might be difficult to part with items they were emotionally attached to, but over time, this person experiences a new sense of freedom and peace. Free from the burden of material goods, they find a deeper satisfaction and realize that their happiness doesn't lie in the things they own. To detach from these anchors, it's essential to recognize that they are products of the ego seeking security and validation. Change your perspective and understand that your worth is not tied to these attachments. Your essence, your true self, is enough. This understanding doesn't happen immediately. It's a continuous process, a conscious practice of placing your inner peace above external validation. Finally, open yourself to the concept of abundance. When you let go of the fear of loss, the universe finds ways to give back more than you left behind. Detachment doesn't mean you care less. It means you understand better. It's about being true to your essence, allowing love, not fear, to guide your life. The journey to detachment is profoundly transformative. It's about shedding the ego and discovering the resilient, loving soul that resides within you. It's moving forward with lightness, free from the burdens of attachment, ready to receive new blessings with open arms and a full heart. Unveiling the ego's illusion. Sometimes, our ego makes us feel that we are not enough, or that what others have is always better. This feeling can lead us to seek validation and become emotionally attached to people in the hope of finding the approval we believe we lack. This can lead to the mistake of idolizing others, placing them on pedestals as if they had something we could never achieve. But in critical moments of life, when we look at our essence, we see that no one has a special ticket to happiness or perfection. We all face vulnerabilities and challenges, and deep down, we are all equally human. Facing this illusion and recognizing it as a mirage is crucial to prevent it from distorting how we see ourselves and others. It's important to talk about self-confidence and inner healing. Remembering that you are amazing, special, and unique is an essential practice for strengthening your self-esteem and caring for your well-being. However, this doesn't mean seeing others as inferior or distancing yourself from the shared experience of humanity. Instead, it's about understanding that while each of us follows a unique path, no path is superior to another. Our stories are threads woven together in the grand journey of life, and each one is as significant as the next. When we talk about attachment, especially in relationships, it's easy to fall into the trap of fearing the loss of someone we considered unique and irreplaceable. This fear is fed by the ego, which tells us stories of scarcity and limitation. However, emotionally detaching doesn't mean denying your feelings or becoming indifferent. It's about embracing the abundance that life offers and recognizing our capacity to love fully. It means understanding that while someone may be very special to us, our happiness and completeness don't depend on that person's presence. This understanding can free us from the bonds of attachment, which are fed by fear, allowing us to experience love in a more authentic and uncomplicated way. When we abandon the desperate desire to cling to people or outcomes, we can love more lightly and truthfully. By applying Stoic philosophy to our lives, we begin to see the value in treating every person, including ourselves, through a lens of equality. Imagine life as a grand play where everyone plays important roles. Every person we meet and every person we eventually lose has a significant part in our journey, just as we play a role in the lives of others. However, none of these roles are truly indispensable. When we internalize this view, we begin to develop deep emotional strength. This strength helps us face life's uncertainties with more grace and balance. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can truly control: our perceptions, actions, and desires. Applying this philosophy to our relationships and the process of detachment offers us a path to finding genuine peace and solid resilience. We let go of the illusions that the ego casts on us, those lies that make us believe we need something or someone to be complete, and embrace the liberating truth that we are all part of a shared humanity. Let's consider a practical example to illustrate this. Imagine you have a close friend with whom you share many experiences. If you start to feel like you desperately need this friendship to feel complete, you're holding on to an attachment based on fear. However, if you begin to see this friendship as valuable but not essential for your happiness, you are practicing healthy detachment. You understand that friendship is important, but your wholeness and happiness do not depend solely on it. By internalizing this perspective, you become more capable of handling loss or changes in relationships more calmly and maturely. You realize that every person in your life is important, but your inner peace and self-worth are not tied to a single relationship or specific status. This approach allows us to live with more authenticity and less anxiety, trusting that life, with its uncertainties and changes, can be faced with confidence and serenity. Detaching from the illusions of the ego and embracing the truth of our shared humanity gives us a solid foundation to build healthier relationships and a more balanced life. Paths to true happiness. Understanding where true value comes from is essential to freeing ourselves from unnecessary attachments and achieving genuine emotional freedom. When we can answer this question, we distance ourselves from the need to depend on people, things, or external validations to feel complete. This concept is especially relevant when we face the challenge of detaching from someone. This is not a process of cutting ties with indifference or malice, but rather recognizing that the deepest form of companionship you can have is the one you maintain with yourself. Imagine you're holding a bucket of water in one hand and a heavy weight in the other. The bucket represents the companionship and support you seek from others, while the weight represents the expectation that these things should fill an internal void. Sometimes we cling so tightly to the weight that we forget the bucket can symbolize our own ability to find peace and satisfaction within ourselves. The true value isn't in holding onto that weight, but in recognizing that the bucket is enough to sustain us, and that the source of our satisfaction comes from within. It's easy to believe that our happiness is tied to the presence of another person in our lives, or that our worth increases with the approval of others and diminishes with their neglect. We think that if we just have that person by our side or receive the validation we seek, we will be complete. However, this mindset can chain us, limiting our vast potential to the whims and actions of others. It's like a bird that believes it needs a cage to fly. By limiting ourselves to these expectations, we restrict our own emotional sky. Imagine a vast blue sky stretching out above you, always open and limitless. Now, visualize yourself as a bird that, instead of believing it needs a cage to fly, discovers that it can spread its wings and explore that sky without limits. This sense of self-sufficiency is liberating. It teaches us that our worth does not depend on the presence or opinion of others. When you begin to see value in yourself and your own company, you learn that while some people may be special, your happiness and completeness are not exclusively tied to them. Detaching, therefore, is not an act of pushing someone away with coldness, but of getting closer to yourself with empathy and understanding. It's about focusing on personal growth, becoming the best version of yourself, and leaving behind the weight of attachment. Think of it as cultivating a garden. You don't beg for a single flower to grow and bloom. Instead, you tend to the soil, water the plants, and trust in the natural process. You understand that by creating the right conditions, the flowers will grow healthily and independently, regardless of who comes to admire their beauty. Similarly, by focusing on self-sufficiency, we cultivate an emotional garden that blooms regardless of who passes by or appreciates its beauty. This cultivation becomes a source of happiness that is authentic, resilient, and deeply rewarding. So how do we walk this path of emotional detachment? It begins with understanding that you are complete with or without someone's approval. Your journey is about exploring the vastness of your own sky and learning to love the freedom that comes from flying alone. Adopting the wisdom of Stoicism involves focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts, your actions, and your personal growth. This doesn't mean closing your heart or ignoring love and connection, but rather anchoring yourself firmly in the ground of your own being. Remember that your value is not a puzzle missing a piece from another person, but a complete masterpiece, open to adding more beauty to the world around you. We have already explored various topics here on the channel, and many of them touch on this subject. It is possible that you have heard something similar before, so I ask you, why continue down the same path of error? What is stopping you from applying what has already been discussed and making the necessary change? You have to find these answers to truly change. And we've come to the end, my friends. If you enjoyed this video and found value in the ideas shared, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next content. Leave a like to show your support and share this video with friends who might also benefit from these reflections. If you've watched until the end, leave your mark by writing Wise Echo in the comments so I'll know you were with me on this journey. Also, click on the video that appears now on the screen to continue exploring similar topics and deepen your personal growth journey. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, my friends.